gathers her brood under her wings, but you would not. Now that we have established that wisdom is a divine person, distinct from the Father, yet still divine, let us look at the passages where Jesus is identified with divine wisdom. Jesus says in Matthew 11:29-30, "Take my yoke upon you, and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." Listen to these words in the book of Sirach describing wisdom. Sirach 6:19-31. "Come to wisdom like one who plows and sows. Put your neck into her collar. Bind your shoulders and carry her. Come unto her with all your soul, and keep her ways with all your might. For at last you will find the rest she gives. Then her fetters will become for you a strong defense, and her collar a glorious robe. Her yoke is a golden ornament, and her bonds a purple cord." Jesus Christ identifies himself with the characteristics of divine wisdom. Jesus explicitly calls himself the wisdom of God in Luke chapter 11, verse 49. "Therefore also the wisdom of God said, I will send them prophets and apostles, some of whom they will kill and persecute." Here are two more brief examples of Jesus' identification with divine wisdom in the book of wisdom. John 6:27. I'm trying just to read it quickly instead of posting straight. I will postpone request. John 6:27. "Do not labor for the food that perishes, but for the food that endures to eternal life, which the Son of Man will give to you. For on him God the Father has set his seal." Wisdom 16:26. "On wisdom God the Father has placed his seal of approval, so that your children, whom you loved, O Lord, might learn that it is not the production of crops that feeds humankind, but that your word sustains those who trust in you." John 14:15. "If you love me," Jesus Christ, "you will keep my commandments." Wisdom 16:18. "And the love of wisdom is the keeping of her laws, and giving heed to her laws is the assurance of immortality." Therefore we see that wisdom is a divine figure, God, and Jesus Christ claims to be divine wisdom. I want to briefly also cover Jesus' use of the title Son of Man. Jesus claims to be the Son of Man 78 times in the New Testament Gospels. Here are a few examples. John 1:51, "And he said to them, Truly, truly, I say to you, you will see heaven opened, and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man." Mark 14:21, "For the Son of Man goes as it is written of him, but woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been better for that man if he had not been born." Who is this Son of Man? To answer this question, we will go to the book of Daniel. Daniel 7:13-14, "I saw in the night visions, and behold, with the clouds of heaven there came one like a son of man, and he came to the Ancient of Days and was presented before him. And to him was given dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all peoples, nations, and languages should worship him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom is one that shall not be destroyed." It is important to note that in the Gospels and in the book of Daniel, the title used for Son of Man is Bar Enosh, whereas in the book of Ezekiel, where the title Son of Man is used negatively, it is Bar Adam. The Son of Man is a divine figure. How do we know this? We see worship being offered to him. And second of all, Jesus says, Matthew 26:64-65, Jesus said to him, "You have said so, but I tell you, from now on you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming on the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his robes and said, "He has uttered blasphemy. What further witnesses do we need? You have now heard his blasphemy." Why would the high priest think this was blasphemous if Jesus was not claiming divinity? Jesus is claiming divinity when he says that he will be seated at the right hand of power. What does this mean? In the apocryphal testament of Job, which reflects ancient Jewish belief, the right hand of God is where the very power of Yahweh emanates from. The righteous prophets of old are allowed to stand at the right hand of God and sit at his left hand, but they are never allowed to sit at the right hand of God. This means that Jesus Christ is claiming the same divine authority that Yahweh God alone claims. Therefore, because of these three categories of evidence, because of the wisdom of God, because of I am, and because of the Son of Man, it is best to conclude that Jesus Christ claims deity according to the New Testament Gospels. I have additional lines of evidence that I will bring forth in my next few speeches. Thank you.
To make sure, MK. And oh wait, 1 second. Okay, now does it sound good? No echo. Just give me a 1. Okay, you can start my time. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So, to proceed, is Jesus God according to the 4 Gospels? Is he divine? do these four Gospels of Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John preach about the divinity of Christ? Well, for starters, these four Gospels are the four supposed eyewitnesses of Jesus' life. They are the four eyewitness accounts of his life. Hence, if Jesus is God, one would readily expect to find a single passage which quotes Jesus as saying, "I am God," or "I am the only God, and there is no God but me." But surprise, surprise, there is not a single passage in which Jesus says, "I am God," or "I am the only God," etc. Now, how is that possible? Here we are debating whether Jesus is God, and the very man himself, Jesus, never made such a statement. So my question to everyone is this: who are you going to believe? My opponent, Thomas, who argues that yes, Jesus is God, or Jesus himself, the man who never uttered the words, "I am God"? Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. So I will lay down the first challenge of tonight's debate, and I demand that it be met. And if it is not met, then we can happily go to bed tonight knowing that Jesus is not God. And the challenge is very simple. Bring me a single explicit and clear verse which records Jesus saying the following: "I am Yahweh, I am God," or "I am Yahweh, and there is no other God beside me." So that is my first challenge for tonight's debate. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what do we know about God? We know that God is all-powerful, all-knowing, all-knowledgeable. He doesn't die, etc., etc. Yet according to the Gospels, Jesus was not all-powerful. He was ignorant, just like we are all ignorant. And he died. All of these traits are not the traits of God. The fact that Jesus is not all-powerful proves he is not God. The fact that Jesus is not all-knowing proves that he is not God. And the very fact that Jesus died proves he is not God. Now, I can already read the minds of the Christians and my opponent. Now, the standard Christian response to this problem is the following: "Ah, yes, you see, Jesus is fully man and fully God. He is the God-man." For starters, calling Jesus the God-man, or claiming Jesus to be fully God and fully man, is as useless as me saying 2 + 2 = 17. It means absolutely nothing. It is 100% wrong. Now, you can say it, but it doesn't mean anything. How can you be fully 100% God and 100% man at the same time? How can you be all-knowing and ignorant at the same time? Ladies and gentlemen, if I told you someone was fully fat and fully thin, would that make sense? What about fully smart and fully dumb at the same time? Or better, fully truthful but fully dishonest at the same time? It would make no sense. I would be talking gibberish. Now, I'm sure many Christians will be shaking their heads in disagreement, so let me lay down my second challenge. Bring me a single verse from the four Gospels, which explicitly and clearly record Jesus stating that he is fully God and fully man. Bring me a single verse where Jesus says, "I am the God-man." Now, since time is short, I will go on this final point. If I have some final minutes left, I'll go to other points. Now, here we are tonight, debating whether Jesus is God or not. But what about Jesus' contemporaries, the people who lived with Jesus? What about them? What about the people who were alive during his lifetime, and the people who believed in him? What did they debate about? Did they debate what we are debating right now? Did they debate whether Jesus